the haunted backroads of America and live from the G&D Show Studios, this is your Ghostman and Demon Hunter Show.
Doesn't that sound exciting to you?
Hey, welcome back, Shadow Nation, to the one, the only, mystifying Oracle Radio. You guessed it, your Ghostman and Demon Hunter show. Demon Hunter!
Yo, yes, sir.
That's bad. Stop drinking during the show, will ya? At least the intro.
I was holding that, trying to get that cough out when the mic was muted the whole time. And
Special thanks to all our homes, all our sponsors, Stitcher, Smart Radio, Planet Paranormal, Action Audio Apps. Hey! Are you guys listening? Because they want to know. So check them out at actionaudioapps.com. The SYL Project. Give some love. Share some love today. SYLproject.com. Paranormal A, our buddies in Canada. Thanks, guys.
hey,
For being, I don't know, so very cool.
cool.
Yeah, I think so. Welcome back, man. Sunday night.
Welcome back. No, I'm sitting there. I've got my mic muted. I'm coughing. I'm coughing. You call on me, and I'm like, if I don't hit the button, he's gonna think I forgot again.
Yeah,
But if I do hit it, I'm 95% chance I'm gonna cough right into the microphone.
I can't do this unprofessional show anymore.
Oh.
I can't do it. I can't.
We'll fix it in the mix.
We'll
right?
fix it. That's right. We can edit. Nobody listens live anymore, man. That's behind the eight ball. People are grooving. They're smoothing. Is that a word? Smoothing? Grooving, smoothing?
It is now.
It is now. Well, they don't have time for that. They DVR things and the tweeter and the twat.
Yeah, nobody even watches TV on the night that the show comes out anymore. They all DVR it and then get on Facebook and say, "Don't tell me what happened."
Yeah, I hate that. Oh, my God.
If you don't want to know what happened, stay off Facebook.
Turn off your social media, for God's sakes. Just because you had to work or read your book doesn't mean the rest of the world has to stay silent about their enjoyment for something.
Just because your kid had his school play, and so you didn't want to see last night's episode of Fear the Walking Dead, don't ask us to keep quiet about it.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, guys, welcome back. In case you guys didn't know, we are the leading paranormal horror and sci-fi related genre entertainment radio show around the world. If not, we should be. So
East in Kentucky and Indianapolis.
yes, the host of the award-winning, wait, it didn't win, Extreme Paranormal on A&E, but our show's award-winning, our radio show.
Our radio show is
absolutely. So everybody around the world.
Our TV show just got death threats.
It did. It did. If you guys don't know, check it out on YouTube, and they still play them on the bio, right?
Around Halloween time, which is coming up.
It is coming up. Anyway, guys, Extreme Paranormal. Check it out. YouTube, if you don't remember. We got death threats from that. That was cool. Yeah, but we've been doing the show 9 years. Got some great guests. Can you, last week, I'm still talking about it. I'm excited about it. Nathan, we had Lance Burton on.
Who's that?
One of the top 5 entertainers in the world.
I just love teasing Sean about it, folks. If you haven't noticed, Sean loves magicians.
Yeah, well, Nathan didn't know who he was, Shadow Nation. He did not know who.
I said that to tease you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. That's terrific. So next week we'll have the guy that lives down the street from us. I'm gonna.
Yes.
I'm not bringing home.
He is Marvin the Magnificent, and
yeah. No magicians live around me except for me. I live here. You know, that's another thing because we have the Ghostman family Halloween bash every year. You've seen I've been working on that prop.
I have been watching that come together, and I have to say, bravo, my friend.
Bravissimo.
We have had many a home haunt expert on our show.
We have.
And I think they would be impressed with your work as well.
Thank God for YouTube and Pinterest. Pinterest.
Hey, are you going to spray that all down with like silicone and lacquer so that if it rains on Halloween night, it doesn't melt?
I am. I'm going to try that. I'm a little spooked because I put his hands on. We had to do that out of clothes hangers. Anyway, guys, if you can't see it, I'll put a picture up on the Ghostman and Demon Hunter Show Facebook page. You guys should already be members of the Shadow Nation on there. If you're not, shame on you.
Join the Shadow Nation.
Thank you, Nathan. Tell them how to do it.
Well, you can go to our website at www.ghostanddemon.com. That's 2 D's, folks. GhostManDemon.com. And from there, you can find the link to our Facebook page where you can join the Shadow Nation, where we will keep you up to date on all the cool things we're doing, all the cool people we're talking to, and just remember,
beat me up.
be cool. Be cool.
Be cool. Don't stay in school. Listen to our show. No, I mean stay in school.
Stay in school. Stay in school.
Who was that? You say that. Be cool. Stay in school.
Wasn't Fonzie, right? No.
Why didn't they have us do infomercials? We could have done that.
We could have done that.
We could have.
We have the voice. We have the what is it? We have the voice for broadcasting and the face for voiceovers.
Stay in school. Didn't the owl, Hootie the Owl, say that?
No, Hootie the Owl was give a hoot, don't pollute.
Give a hoot. Don't pollute. Was there another one? Was there a that you had Hootie the Owl? What was some of those mascots from when we? And then you had
the crying Indian.
Right. Who wasn't an Indian? There was a big debate.
No, he was actually. You've met my roommate Charles.
Yeah, he's Italian, wasn't he?
Yes, and Charles used to deliver. He worked for a small airport. His company was joined with a small airport, and Charles is a pilot, a small plane pilot.
Right.
And he would get every year. The company would deliver turkeys on Thanksgiving to an Indian group. Native American group. Not that Native Americans really are grateful for Thanksgiving, but
how do you know? Have you personally went door to door at every Indian nation and asked?
I have not. I just remember my brother-in-law was Native American, and he had no thrill for it. Although he did enjoy the food, I have to admit that. They would deliver these, and apparently the Crying Indian, whose name escapes me at this point, even though he wasn't actually a Native American, would go on these flights with them to make the deliveries because he was very popular among the Native Americans.
Right, he was. He did a lot of. I watched something the other day about that. Iron Eyes Cody.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. It shows his wife's name, but not his. What in the heck? Is that his legal name, Iron Eyes Cody?
No, I do believe he changed it to that.
No, and it was Espera Oscar de Corte.
Yeah, that's a good Native American name.
Died in 1999. An American actor, he impersonated Native Americans in Hollywood films. He also played an Indian shedding a tear about litter in one of the country's most well-known television commercials, Keep America Beautiful.
Yes, and of course we had Smokey the Bear.
And it was...
Only you can prevent forest fires.
I actually forgot that. I forgot Smokey, man.
How can you forget Smokey?
I don't know. When I was a kid, I think Mom went to Kmart. I don't know if that exists anymore. But she got me a Smokey the Bear... I don't know, bank or something. He was plastic and had the shovel.
And let's not forget Mr. Yuck.
Hey, it was Cody's half-sister said he was Italian.
Yes.
And he denied it. Now you know. He said he was not. He said he was, well, wherever the money's at, that's what ancestral pool I'm from. Ancestral pool. That's it, baby. Would you fight it? I mean, if you had billions and billions of dollars from followers.
Apparently, Sean, to answer your earlier question, Zig Ziglar was the original Be Cool, Stay in School program.
Zig Ziglar. Why do I know that name? We had him on the show?
No, I don't think so.
We know that name, Zig Ziglar.
Oh, you should know the name, yeah.
We do know it.
But Zig Ziglar was the original... Be Cool, Stay in School.
Zig Ziglar.
I
think, wasn't that the guy's name from Boogie Nights, the porno star? Well, it was something like that, wasn't it?
I'm going to admit something here, Sean.
Google
I've never watched Boogie Nights.
You've never watched Boogie Night with Marky Mark?
Nope. Never watched it.
Zig Ziglar. Because I think you just looked it up, so I'm going to look it up. Zig Ziglar, Boogie Nights. I'm going to look it up.
Well, I did just look up Zig Ziglar to find out... who said Be Cool, Stay in School. I didn't remember it off the top of my head. But there were other mascots, Sean. Remember Mr. Yuck?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Yuck is green. Do you remember the theme song?
No. I saw Mr. Yuck. The only time I ever saw Mr. Yuck, because they didn't really play him down in New Jersey, was in one of those really horrible old films that they'd show in school.
Yeah.
That's how I saw Mr. Yuck.
I know why I put, what was it, Zig Ziglar? What was his name?
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar, and he was responsible for the Stay in School Don't be
Yep.
a nard. Remember that, nard? You used to call people, don't be a nard, man. What a nard. Dirk Diggler was from Boogie Nights. See it? Diggler, Ziggler?
see, now I know. I understand.
That was Wahlberg's. Anyway, that was Wahlberg's role, Diggler.
Apparently, Zig Ziglar wrote a bunch of books about why kids don't stay in school. So,
right. Do you have any money? If you have money, I'll do the theme song, Mr. Yuck.
do you have the money?
Oh yeah, I put $5 up right now. Here we go. Mr. Yuck is green. Mr. Yuck is mean. You don't remember that?
No.
Oh my God, that was it.
I just
man.
remember him like
You're
you know,
welcome.
the stuff
Will.
under the cabinets and all that stuff.
That's when you stop drinking turpentine, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's deadly.
That's not good for me. I love that
Oh my
stuff.
goodness, Mr. Yuck, thank you. I never would have known that. How many? Did it prevent? Do you think? Did it prevent a lot of? Prevent a lot of poison in America? The world?
Probably not. Probably not.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I think kids. Well, I mean, I remember the big thing they used to do in my school when I was a kid was stranger danger.
Yeah, stranger danger. Yeah.
And you know, they all taught us, you know, don't go off with strangers, that kind of stuff. Every time you were walking home from school and a car slowed down, you freaked out because you just read Billy and Jenny and the Nice Bad Man.
I never read that. Was that like Dick and Jane? Where you?
Yeah, it was a pamphlet about a boy and a girl who are walking home from school, and Billy agrees to get in the car with a stranger, and the stranger takes off, and Jane runs home and tells her parents, and they call the police.
It's not funny.
No, it's not funny.
I laugh.
But it was like
I was
it was
just
a pamphlet they would send home with kids like every year.
I was just thinking, man, if that was at my school, somebody would have defaced it. They defaced everything. I remember going to the nurse's office, and they had a, brochures for the girls and boys. Your body's changing. Once a month, something will happen to the girls, right? The boys will start noticing changes in their body. Informational, medical things to help the kids out. I remember going in there, and there was a pamphlet laying on the table, and it was about women's time of the month thing. And, somebody had put, toilets on it, and the lady had choked herself with a tampon. And, I mean, you can't, kids, man, kids today,
Kids those days.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nowadays, they'd be arrested for a hate crime.
Right. The Magic 8-Ball says, reply hazy, try again. We didn't ask
Wasn't
nothing.
there like an American Eagle
Outlook
too
good.
that was like a mascot or something?
No, that was from the Colbert Report. That was for pistachios. Remember, the American Eagle was wearing green? And
Oh, right.
You don't remember that,
Well,
do you?
I seem to recall there having been one. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of other mascots, Sean, and I just can't think of any.
Well, you had Hootie the Owl, Mr. Yuck. You were good there. 3. You had 3. And Iron Eyes Cody.
Yeah.
And there was one more. Hold on. Let me get this last one. You had Iron Eyes Cody. You had Mr. Yuck. You had Smokey the Bear. And you had... Oh, my God. I keep seeing Bill from Capitol Hill. And that's not
Oh
one of
yeah,
them.
remember Bill?
That was Schoolhouse Rock, though. That wasn't...
Oh yeah, that he wasn't really a mascot. That was
Right.
just kind of like a one-shot thing. But
Right.
I mean, he stuck with us.
Right.
Of
Hey,
course,
guys.
nowadays, he taught us how a bill is people present an idea, which is written into a
Hill.
bill. It's taken to Congress. Congress votes on it. It goes to the president. The president either accepts it or vetoes it. Of course, none of that happens anymore because now apparently all you need is an executive order and you can do anything you want as president. So.
Oh my God, you said that. Guys, we really are a paranormal horror sci-fi show. We just for the first hour we do strange news and kind of banter back and forth. So
Try and tick each other off no matter what.
it doesn't work. Oh my God, I can't believe guys, get in our Facebook, get on Twitter, get in the chat room and tell us which mascot are we missing here? I know there's a big one. Huh?
Well, and then there's always
I can hear you typing.
Scooby-Doo, because he was my mascot growing up. You know?
Scooby-Doo, absolutely.
Not that he
Scooby-Doo.
ever. Oh, remember? It was past my time, but G.I. Joe used to always do those public service messages at the end of every show.
Yeah. But that was later.
Yeah.
God, there was 3 of them. There was
Now
3 of them. Iron Eyes Cody. Now it's going to drive me nuts, man. Remember that? Knowledge is power. Yeah. Schoolhouse Rock. What kind of schoolhouse?
Sued by like the owners of Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah. We're talking about him.
Oh, the crime dog. McRuff the crime dog.
McRuff, that one, the one I was thinking of. Hootie the Owl.
To get to this Capitol building here in Washington.
You didn't say Hootie
Well, I
the
wonder
Owl.
who that sad
I
little
didn't say
scrap of
Hootie the Owl. I
paper
thought that was the first one I said.
I don't know.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill.
I had to do it. I'll cut it off there. You're welcome. You got it on my mind. I had to play it.
That kept jumping into my mind too.
It did. Oh, Hootie the Owl. I did not say Hootie the Owl. He always had the kids dancing through the woods with him, and he was a big creepy owl. Remember?
I thought I said Hootie the Owl.
No, you said Iron Eyes Cody, Mr. Yuck, and Smokey the Bear.
We're gonna have to go back and play that. I'm pretty sure I said Hootie the Owl.
Instant replay. Demon Hunter.
GhostMan.
We're 17 minutes in. We probably need to do tonight's guest.
Da da da.
Oh my goodness, you hear the music! Tonight's guest, he is a Canadian actor and director best known for his role as Melvin Frohicke, one of the lone gunmen on the television smash hit, The X-Files. He's also directed projects such as Millennium and The Lone Gunmen. Tonight, we go behind the conspiracy theories and on this set of one of the world's greatest television series with actor, director, Tom Braidwood. Huh? The X-Files to return next year. Can't wait for it, guys. Tom Braidwood stopping by The X-Files Lone Gunmen. He's going to be here only at the mystifying home of the... Wait, I messed that up, didn't I? At the home of the mystifying Oracle of the Radio. Your Ghostman and Demon Hunter show. Oh my God, I can't believe I messed that up. How long have I been saying that?
Been practicing it all night.
My tongue went numb, man. 9 years, my tongue finally went numb. We could have a problem.
I had a really good comment there, but we are a family radio show, so I'll hold it back.
We are? When did we get that? When did we get that rating? You can't do that. We could be sued.
At least on YouTube, we are.
Yeah, at least we got to keep it clean for... Hey, with tonight's guest, in honor of tonight's guest, we hope he comes in the studio. He hasn't arrived yet. Hope there's no traffic. Anyway, 10 most popular conspiracy theories. I thought we'd talk about that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about conspiracy theories.
That sounded totally fake when you said, okay, yeah, let's talk about conspiracy theories.
No, that's my sincere voice.
That's your
really
fake BS.
I was just born with a speech impediment that makes everything I say sound like I'm being sarcastic.
Here, let's ask the Magic 8-Ball what he thinks about it. I swear to God, this 8-Ball you got me is broken. It doesn't work, man. It worked like one time.
So it worked when I gave it to you, and now it's broken. Whose fault is that?
It is decidedly so. So I guess you meant it. I guess you weren't.
There you go.
All right, 10 most popular conspiracy
Don't you remember when we were on television, Sean, and the producer kept saying, Nathan, everything you say sounds sarcastic. And
right.
I said, this is just the way I talk, really.
And I agreed with him. I said, let's get him. Let's monkey stomp him. Anyway, Agatha Christie once famously said the simplest explanation is always the most likely. That's not true, Nathan. It's not always true.
Wouldn't that be Occam's razor?
Yes, I think so. Number 1, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. You've heard of this one, right?
Well, of course. This is, in my opinion, the number 1 biggest conspiracy theory out there.
Is Lee Harvey or the... Yeah. Anyway, let me do this before you blow it away.
Okay, go ahead.
Perhaps only 9/11 comes close to matching the multitude of theories and interests surrounding JFK's assassination in '63. Kennedy was shot while riding in a presidential motorcade and his wife in Dallas. with his wife in Dallas. She wasn't shot. He was with his wife. Lee Harvey Oswald was fingered as the gunman in Texas school book depository that day. But then, of course, he was shot in the head, right? Shot in the chest. They killed him. Witnesses claimed that they heard shots coming from the grassy knoll near the motorcade, blah, 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 blah. We know all about that, right? Anyway.
Yes, we do.
They also say the CIA, the Mafia, Fidel Castro, and Lyndon Johnson are listed as the masterminds behind the murder and cover-up. Yeah. This is in honor of our guest tonight, the Lone Gunmen guys. We're all three of them.
Where the whole Lone Gunman story comes from.
Yeah. Number 2, Princess Diana was...
are we not going to talk about this? Are we not even going to give our opinions on it?
Well, we're going to talk about each one. Okay, yeah, we got time.
Well, no, I just want to say... No, I just want to say that I do not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was totally on his own in this.
No, I don't either. I would agree.
But I do think he was involved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think that he was killed. I don't think he was killed to hush him up. I think he was just killed because of the overwhelming reaction people were having to what was going on.
JFK getting killed, yeah. But I think you're right. I think knowing that he was with the Castro support group, that he was with, I forget the name of it, I'm sorry, but he was known to be with the Russians and stuff like that. And there was a lot of turmoil going on, still is, back in the day. And, the guy came over here, clearly he had some black sheepishness about him. And all of a sudden this happens, and, dude, he's not clean. He's not clean. You remember the X-Files episode? When we had William B. Davis on, our good friend of the show, the Smoking Man.
Yes.
He had that.
One of my favorite episodes.
He had that one episode. What was it? Memoirs of a Smoking Man?
Yep.
And he went back through his life, and he actually was like the JFK an assassin. He was Martin Luther King. I mean, amazing episode, man. Huh?
I thought so.
Anyway, number 2. You ready for number 2?
I am always ready.
Okay, so you guys get the official answers from the Ghostman Demon Hunter show. Lee Harvey Oswald did not act alone. That's it. We've solved it.
Yes, he was obviously involved, but did not act alone. But I'm pretty certain he fired off a couple shots.
Couple shots. Now, that's interesting. You didn't think it was 2. You thought it was 1.
No, I figure he shot twice.
Okay. Did he fire the first one or the second?
Well, wasn't there a third shot?
I think they said some were a third, some was only a 2. They said some people were... There's actually something on Netflix. I watched this a couple days ago.
Some people say that the third shot was just an echo.
Yeah. But a lady said she's seen it bang off the ground like firecrackers.
Yeah. So, everything going on, how are you going to know? I mean, but I honestly think he fired at least 2 shots. He probably made contact. Yeah. But it was the third shot that killed him. And whether or not he made that third shot, I can't say.
Then again, dude, he was on the CIA's most wanted list there for just being, a black sheep because he'd been involved with all this stuff. So, I mean, he could have been pointed out. He could have been doubtful, but he could have been. I mean, there's been some weird stuff happen in history. Anyway, number 2, Princess Diana was killed on purpose. What do you think about this?
I do not believe that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. But you got to admit, it was
she was beloved even by the royal family. I don't think they would have had her killed.
Yeah, you don't really think the royal family, if they want you gone, you're going to go?
Well, sure, they could. Mm-hmm. If I want you gone, I can make you disappear.
So you would say the governments around the world, like the American government, or we got to be careful here, guys. There will be black helicopters around our... If you think the government, whatever country or nation you're in, wants you to be gone, you won't disappear without a trace?
Of course you will, but I don't think anybody wanted her gone.
I don't know. Anyway,
despite the stories that we've heard, I don't think she was a target.
It says when the People's Princess was killed, that's what they called her, People's Princess, was killed in a car crash resulting from overzealous paparazzi in Paris, the public demanded answers. It was hard for them to believe that such a compassionate, celebrated figure could die so senselessly. So it didn't take long for the theories to surface about why certain people in power would want her dead. Some think she was pregnant and planning to marry her boyfriend, Dodi El Fayed, son to the owner of Harrods and Paris Ritz Hotel, and planning to become Muslim. That's a new one for me, which might have worried the British royal family given her influence on the people.
Yeah, that can still be like brushed under the carpet. I don't think they'd kill her over that.
No.
It's another knee-jerk reaction of the public. It's like when Elvis died and everybody didn't believe it, because it's so hard to believe that somebody who took as good care of themselves as Elvis could just die like that.
Oh my God, he did drugs? That's terrible. The guy was on stage and they were propping him up. Singer, I love the King.
Oh yeah,
he was amazing. He had demons. What happened to all the groovy drugs when we were on the road? We didn't get anything.
We didn't.
We got food.
It was good food. We were in New Orleans.
Yeah, I gained like 12 pounds when I was out there. Anyway, they also said the royal family wanted her gone for the king could the prince could do the remarriage thing.
Yeah, but then he had to give up the throne anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. AIDS is a man-made disease. Number 3 comes in. What do you think about this?
Oh, tough one.
Yeah, me and you, my friend, lived in the era of the AIDS scare with Ryan White here in Indiana.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? That struck home, guys. I'm out of Indianapolis, Indiana. I remember when Ryan White came out, and Michael Jackson and Billy Joel, and not Billy Joel, but Billy somebody was doing who did Candle in the Wind? Candle burned out long before. Who was that?
Now you're going to put me on the spot.
He wears a funny hat.
Elton John.
Elton John, yeah. Not that he wears a funny hat, but big glasses. And he's known for his theatrics, okay? Yeah, but I remember Ryan White had that. And they cleared the schools, man. They were making us, I remember we had sanitary wipes in the schools. First time I'd ever seen it. We had to wipe down our desk. And they wouldn't allow Ryan White to go to school. Remember that?
I do remember that whole thing, and I remember, the big shocker for my generation, being the kids that grew up with older parents, when Rock Hudson was found out.
Oh yeah, that was a big one, right?
And I know people can't believe it to this day, but we were shocked to find out that Liberace was gay.
Well.
No, we were, Sean.
I know. No, I remember.
You just assumed he was a flamboyant man because he was a performer. Right. Nobody really thought. They all pushed it out of their head. They didn't want to think it because they all loved watching him perform. So, but when it came out that his announcement that he was gay came out when it was found out he had AIDS.
It was so homophobic when we were growing up. People were scared to death of what they did. But think about it. That's how the human race has survived. For so many years. The caveman. Oh, look, it's a dinosaur we should be scared of. Gay people are dinosaurs? Absolutely not. We support lifestyles and everything. Love is love here, guys. But I do remember, as misguided as it was, the knee-jerk reaction. That was crazy. I mean,
of course, that's when all the rumors came out. It was a disease designed by the government. Somebody had caught it from having sex with monkeys in the jungle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That we were all afraid it was going to become that it would start spreading from mosquito bites.
You got scared because you were a carnival at the time.
That was before my carnival days, man.
No, it wasn't. They said somebody had sex with a monkey at a carnival.
I was like, time for me to resign.
I'm out of here with Joe Dirt. Anyway, AIDS is a man-made disease. Those in the scientific community generally believe HIV originated from a strand of simian immune deficiency virus found in Western African monkeys. But when a group of 500 African Americans were surveyed in 2005 study published in Journal of Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome, over half of them said that AIDS was created by the government. Conspiracy theories about why the government might have created the virus range from population control to the weakening of racial minority groups and gay people.
And I seem to remember attending a lecture when I was about 16 on HIV and AIDS, and the doctor who was giving the lecture was telling us that this is a lentivirus. I believe it's called a lentivirus, and that it is actually, it's been appearing in horses and sheep for centuries. It's been 100 years they've been finding it in horses now. Probably about 50, 60 years they've been finding it in sheep. So
the AIDS virus?
A similar virus, a lentivirus similar to AIDS.
Oh, wow. Moving on to number 4. This is something in our lifetime too, Nathan. The government was involved in 9/11. Everybody talks about this one. This is a hot topic. Of course, such a large number of lives lost, very sad thing. And a lot of the American citizens were outraged. So people look for answers. Anyway, this is currently the most researched conspiracy theory on the internet. Theories abound about the role of the U.S. government in the events of September 11, 2001, but most state that either the Bush administration had previous knowledge of the attacks and didn't act, or that it orchestrated the entire thing.
I think more likely kind of what happened was just prior to the Bush administration started, there were all these new rules put out regarding information exchange between security groups, from the local police to the state police to the federal government to the CIA. All these groups had rules now put down that secured their information and did not allow the exchange of information from one group to another without going through a higher office. And it slowed everything down to the point where this information came out and it sat on people's desks for way, way too long. And by the time it came together, you know how it is, Sean. People get this information and they're like, well, I've got to bring it to this person and that person and the next person. And before you know it, whatever you're trying to prevent has already happened. So I think it's just a matter of information was not getting to where it needed to be.
Right, and I'd have to agree with you. I don't think the American government was behind it, but I tell you this much for a conspiracy theory. They had several explosives professionals that implode buildings constantly, and they said that building was set to go up. The way that it came in on itself, the way that it collapsed, there was no other way or doubt in their mind that there wasn't some kind of bombs or something that were set to ignite in that building. Now,
But I've seen engineers discuss the fact that the jet fuel burning, which jet fuel, everybody's first response is jet fuel doesn't burn. Well, it does when it gets hot enough,
Right.
And all you need is there's this thing we call in firefighting called a flashover. Once the room reaches a certain heat, everything ignites.
Right.
And once it melted down the structures of that building, it came down on itself, and the weight forced it down to collapse upon itself. It does look like a imploded building. I will admit that. And I can't explain that, but the engineers have said that it came down on itself because of the weight brought down from the upper level and the structure supports melting where the planes hit.
Anyway, tragedy in American history, something that will never be forgotten, guys. Anyway, number 5, Elvis never really left the building. Here we go.
Aha!
Huh?
Yes, because once again, he took such good care of himself.
Many people believe that Elvis is still alive and kicking. They seen him in Texas a couple days ago, right? Or Tennessee or something. Even remembering the old TV show, Erie, Indiana, at the very beginning, it's Elvis. He picked up the guy was a paper boy. It was Omri Katz, and he dropped his paper off, and Elvis picked it up and goes, "Thank you, little paper boy." You don't remember that?
I do remember that. I also, of course, we're all Bruce Campbell fans here. Bubba Tohep.
Yeah, Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep.
Anyway, many people believe that Elvis is still alive and kicking. There have been numerous Elvis sightings throughout the years, and most people point to his incorrect gravestone. It says his middle name is Aaron, but it's spelled Aaron, A-R-O-N, on his birth certificate. As the key piece, and of course on the gravestone it says capital A-A-R-O-N. On his birth certificate it says A-R-O-N. Okay? You with me? As the key piece of evidence that his death is a fraud. That's pretty weak evidence. Anyway, the reasons for the fake death vary between him wanting to get away from the public to him being put under witness protection by the FBI for being a drug informant. A rumor stated by him meeting with Nixon in 1970 and telling him he wanted to help eradicate drug abuse.
Yeah, because one of the wealthiest performers in the world couldn't have been provided with security.
Yeah. Well, now's the time to come forward, Elvis. It's been long enough. We understand the dangers of drugs. Anyway, number 6, the 1960s.
Stop showing up in Walmart wearing your great big sparkly belt buckle and just come out and tell the truth.
You and Bigfoot need to come forward.
Maybe he is Bigfoot.
He might have been. Admit the truth, Elvis. He did have some gnarly sideburns. They might have kept going. Number 6, the 1969 Apollo moon landing didn't happen. What do you think about this?
Oh, this is such a hard one because, you know, we were in a space race. We wanted to prove that we could do it. But there are so many little things that just shock you in the information. Well, like the fact that their spacesuits did not have any heating or cooling systems in them. Yeah. And if you're out in space, you're in a vacuum. If you're in the sunlight, it's a lot hotter than it is here.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're in the dark, it's 100, 200 degrees below freezing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So how do you survive in that kind of environment without having the proper kind of gear to keep you going? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I want to say that it landed. I want to say that it happened. If it didn't happen, it happened shortly thereafter with one of the following flights to the moon. But I think it happened.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from Neil Armstrong and people like that, American heroes that landed on the moon and took that. I'm not going to take that away from them. I mean, I seen YouTube videos of Neil Armstrong almost going to blows with people over the fact that he landed on the moon. Can you imagine doing something that amazing and some idiot coming up going, "Oh my God, it was faked"? Anyway, the fake moon landing theory has...
Yes, I can imagine, Sean, because people said it about us on TV.
That's true. At this point, the fake moon landing theory has mostly been debunked, but there are still few ardent followers out there. They cite altered pictures and videos, missing design, blueprints, and faulty recordings as evidence of the forgery. One of the most popular reasons given for faking the famous moonwalk is that the Kennedy administration wanted to win the space race with the Soviet Union and instill public faith in NASA. However, most Americans still believe that Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong walked on the moon that famous day in July. I do too.
We're in the general agreement of the populace with this.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to agree. I think they walked on the moon, and I think that was it. Period. End of story.
There you go.
Anyway, number 7. This is a big one for us, Nathan. A UFO crashed in Roswell. You heard about this, right?
Oh, I it's been mentioned once or twice.
You've been there.
Yes, I have.
You actually went to the McDonald's.
It's a cute little town, and everything closes at 5 o'clock.
Much like Sleepy Hollow Cemetery.
Yes.
Actually, that closed at noon or something.
Didn't we get there at like 3 and it closed at... Or we got there at 5 minutes of 3 and it closed at 3 o'clock?
No, it closed like at 4.
Did it? Yeah.
Yeah, but you can still get in at the side. I mean...
Not that we would do that.
Not that we would do that. But we did see some cool graves while we were out there. Number 8. You ready? Oh, no, let's talk about number 7. When ranch manager Mac Brazel came across crash debris near his property in 1947, he didn't know what to make of it, and he alerted local authorities. That same day, the Roswell Army Airfield sent out the press release that stated a flying disc was found. Later, this was retracted, and the U.S. military told the public it was a fallen weather balloon. This slip sparked a huge conspiracy theory about the government attempting to cover up evidence of UFOs and alien existence. Some even say there were alien bodies found in the crash.
I go a separate way on this, and I think it was a Russian spy satellite that was brought down.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think people are really that stupid in the armed forces that they would, at that time, say that they had gotten an intact saucer on the ground with alien bodies? But now, granted, these bodies could have been burnt victims or whatever that looked disfigured and everything else. But say it was a satellite,
or it could have been a Russian spy plane.
It could have been. There, I'll agree with you. It might have.
That's what I meant to say, not satellites.
But what about the guy bringing home bringing home the medals to show his son, and they would crumple it up, and the metal would straighten back out, and it had those metallic markings on it, which could have been Russian or whatever. We don't know. Yeah. But there's definitely something there. And the conspiracy, regardless if it was aliens or man-made event, the government created it, and I feel that they lied about it, and that's what created the conspiracy. Either way, either it was aliens or it was Russians spying on us, whatever. They created this nonsense it's not nonsense, I'm sorry. They created this whole thing because they lied.
Yeah, one way or another. Big moment in G&D history here, folks. I agree with Sean.
See? There we go. Global warming's a hoax, Nathan.
Okay.
That's what they say. Despite Al Gore's influential documentary and the beliefs of most scientists, some people believe global warming isn't actually happening. Sure, the fact that Earth's temperatures are steadily rising are irrefutable, but supporters of this theory believe it's due to technology created by those in charge for a variety of reasons, keeping the public in a state of panic to maintain control and decreasing world population being two of the main goals.
Well, I believe the world is getting warmer. I believe we're speeding it up because we're putting so many greenhouse gases into the air. But
the cows fart, right?
Yeah, I don't think cow farts have much to do with it. North America was once covered with buffalo.
Many scientists would disagree with you, sir.
But
cow farts.
I also find it interesting when people start arguing that if the planet gets 2 degrees warmer, that we're going to, be underwater.
Yeah.
When the Vikings discovered Greenland, it was green because the planet was 5 degrees warmer.
Yeah.
So, and the polar bears lived. So I don't know where to go with this whole theory, but I don't see it. I'm not as afraid of it as some other things. Like if Roswell turns out to be true, then I'm going to panic. But this turns out to be true. I think it's just it happens in nature. Are we speeding it up? Yes, we are. But there it is.
Here's number 9 for you. You're really gonna like this. Shakespeare didn't write all those plays, baby.
I agree.
You do.
Yeah.
Anyway, the most famous playwright in the world might not have existed at all. Conspiracy theorists have been debating Shakespeare's life for years, arguing that William Shakespeare was just a pen name used by a group of writers, which might explain why his signature varied throughout his career. Others think that he did exist, but that he was simply a figure for another person to write plays through. What do you think? Your thoughts?
I gotta say,
Group of people?
actually, I think it was probably he was a front for somebody else, because as you recall, you had to be all your plays had to be approved by basically the government before they could be put out. And a lot of people, and I'm one of them who thinks this is possible, think that Christopher Marlowe may have actually written Shakespeare's play. He was an earl, and he couldn't put his name on these plays because at the time, Shakespeare's plays were considered to be very bawdy.
Right.
They were very rude. They were very, sexual. You did not write plays where a man and a woman woke up in bed together because 2 men had to play the roles.
Yes.
So this was not something that, would have been written normally. So I do think that it's possible, especially when you look at Shakespeare's history and there's no sign of him up to the time where he started becoming popular of even being literate, of having the ability to write at all. So...
Well, I mean, that's the fact for everybody. If you don't do the proper promoting, especially back then, people don't know you exist, buddy. But anyway,
our show is exact proof of that.
There's drawings of Shakespeare. Is there not?
Are there paintings of him? Yes. Did he exist?
They
yes,
draw
I think it was a cover. I think Shakespeare was a cover for Christopher Marlowe.
Yeah.
To write the plays, and then he would give them to Shakespeare, and Shakespeare would present them as his own.
I don't agree with you. Absolutely not. Christopher Marlowe, Sir Francis Bacon, or Queen Elizabeth are the 3 that they think they used the name Shakespeare to write their plays for. I do not agree.
As you know, I'm friends with a lot of people who work the Renaissance festivals.
Yes.
And I did have a lot of fun a few years ago. My friend Stephen Krause, who was the head, he used to play Little John at the Renaissance festivals, and then he took over working with the improv actors. And he had a character. Christopher Marlowe was one of his characters, and he would walk around with a little Shakespeare puppet on his hand, telling Shakespeare what to say.
See, that's over the head of many of us non-Renaissance fair goers. I've never been. Stacy wants to go. The wife wants to go to a Renaissance fair. I've never been to one.
I'm going tomorrow.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
always at one.
I usually go on Labor Day. By the way, folks, happy Labor Day!
Happy Labor Day, guys. Thanks for your labor, America and world.
Yes. But I'm going tomorrow. In the Renaissance community, we call Labor Day festivals Black Mondays because before companies like Disney started buying up the Renaissance fairs, not that that's a bad thing, I'm a Disney fan, but on Labor Day, since it usually turned out to be a slow day, the actors would do things a little differently. And I remember one year, years ago, the fair actually ended on a Labor Day.
Okay.
And since they do things in reverse on Labor Day at the fairs, at the end of the day, the bad guys won. The Sheriff of Nottingham won against Robin Hood. And I just remember sitting there watching the joust, and the Sheriff of Nottingham won, and they all left, and the kids were crying. They were crying their eyes out.
Oh.
And they were like, Robin's going to come back, right? He's going to win.
No, he's dead.
And they were told that the actors were told that they were never allowed to let that happen again. So
Did they cut his head off?
No. He just had to kneel before the Sheriff of Nottingham and admit that he had been defeated.
What's the good in that? Back in the medieval days, they just chopped your head off and put it on a fence post.
You can't do that quite nowadays.
Yeah, whatever. Number 10, last but not least, reptilian humanoids control all of us.
Well, of course they do.
Well, yeah.
The subterranean reptilian overlords are our biggest sponsors.
That's true. This has to be one of the wackiest theories I've encountered so far, says the author. It was started back in 1999, by a book written by David Icke called The Biggest Secret, the book that will change the world. In it, he explains that most world leaders, including quite a few U.S. presidents, are actually shape-shifting reptilians being from a different planet who start wars and are responsible for horrific events like 9/11 in order to promote fear and hatred, which gives them strength. Oh, and they're 7 feet tall reptilian humanoids. Who knew? What do you think about this?
I think we'll have to discuss that a little more when we do Legend X tonight.
I don't know. We got to rush through it, too, because we're almost at 10 minutes. But if you remember right, some of the epic guests we've had on, Professor David Jacobs, other people like that, believe in alien, reptilian, humanoid creatures that live underground. They walk among us. Now, this is a professor at Temple University. So, hey, the man's done his homework, man. I mean, what are you going to do?
All hail the subterranean reptilian overlords.
They'll never take me alive, baby. I'm American. In the news!
In the news.
In the news. That's X-Files. I just want to play it again. In the news, it's always fresh. It's always exciting. It's straight from the G&D Show vaults. You ready for this? And it starts right
now.
I was trying to pace myself.
I know.
I was trying to pace myself, and you started
We
talking.
don't have time for pacing.
We ran over on the conspiracies. Who would have thought we'd take up an hour almost on conspiracies? I didn't.
But we had fun with it, didn't we?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. Did you?
I did. That was actually a fun conversation.
It was fun. I hope the listeners enjoyed it as much as we did. Anyway.
So who wants to start off tonight, Sean?
You go right ahead if you're queued up.
That's cool. Then I'll remind people that this is Ghostman and Demon Hunter in the news. That's weird news that Sean and I pick right out of the paper because we like the titles. And my screen just went blank.
Did you actually write that down, the intro for it?
No, I didn't. I don't know why my screen just went blank, so,
Well, that's all right, because I got a story for you.
That's cool. You go ahead with that. But let me remind people that this is also the G&D drinking game. So if you are planning to drink while we make all our mistakes, which there will be a lot of because we didn't read the stories in advance, then remember that if you are going to drive while listening to the G&D show, don't play the G&D drinking game. And if you're going to do anything important, like get your computer screen running again, please listen responsibly.
Listen responsibly. First up tonight, up to bat, Texas co-ed with suspended license drives Barbie Jeep instead. She named the Jeep Charlene. After the toddler who owned it, they say. Thanks to Huffington Post for giving us this story. When Tara Monroe got a DWI in March, her dad thought taking away the keys to her car would keep her off the road. No, No, he thought wrong. Instead, she steered herself toward internet fame by getting around campus, not on a bike or public transportation, but on a Barbie Jeep. Nice wheels, baby. Anyway, Monroe, 20, got an automatic DWI for refusing a breathalyzer test at a Wacky Flacky Flame show in San Antonio. You ever heard of that, Wacky Flacky?
I have not heard of Wacky Flacky.
Wacky Flacky Flame show in San Antonio. Her father was so mad he took away her keys and left her with only a bike, according to the mysanantonio.com. She wasn't happy. Riding a bike around campus sucks, she told the website. Like, really sucks. That's America's youth. College education. It, like, really sucks, Scoob. Anyway, Monroe, an industrial engineering junior, proved to be quite industrious by engineering a better alternative to biking. So Monroe purchased a pink Barbie Jeep for $60 off Craigslist, previously driven by a toddler named Charlene. The name she has given her vehicle. When we drove up to buy it, Charlene asked where the little girl one was to test drive it. To which I replied, I am the little one, Monroe told the New York Daily News. Wow, New York's covering this. Must be a slow news.
Slow week in the news.
I guess. Anyway, the Barbie Jeep runs on a 12-volt battery at speeds of a whopping 5 miles per hour. Monroe has become a celebrity at her new alumni. And at the University of Texas in Austin, according to KHOU. Yeah, anyway. In fact, Monroe told mysanantonio.com that the decision to buy was the best decision I've made in college yet. Sounds like it. Sounds like it, chick. Anyway, Monroe...
Dad, stop paying tuition right now.
Absolutely. Monroe will turn 21 in November and said Charlene will be part of the festivities. It goes pretty fast when it's just me. So I usually make them her friends, is what she means, walk behind me like parents taking their kid out to play. There you go. That's exciting. That's creativeness.
Is that how you want your daughter to act, Sean?
No.
There you go.
She can ride that, but she just can't, she can't get suspended, DWI or nothing.
Hey, Sean, are you a fan of Back to the Future?
Oh, I love Back to the Future. You crazy?
You know, this October will be the year, October 2015, the year that Marty McFly went into the future in Back to the Future 2.
Oh my God, I knew that actually. There was a debate.
To get ready for that, one-wheeled hoverboard rolling onto the market.
Okay.
This comes to us from the Huffington Post as well. At least I think it does. Yes, it does. The skateboard-sized hoverboard has been a dream of millions ever since Marty McFly rode one in Back to the Future 2. Now, an inventor in Montana... Oh, sorry. Have a drink, folks. Now an inventor in Mountain View, California, is wheeling out a version that he hopes will really take off in sales once he gets the funds, of course.
Okay.
Robert Bigler's hoverboard is an electric vehicle that can travel up to 20 miles an hour for up to 15 miles on a single charge. Southwest News Service reports. To be fair, Bigler's board doesn't levitate. It relies on a single wheel in the center of the board deck that can be controlled like a Segway. Lean forward to accelerate, lean back to slow down.
Oh.
Bigler figures, have a drink, to sell the boards for $4,000 each.
Okay.
But needs to raise money to build them first. On September 17th, he will be starting a Kickstart campaign that will finish on October 21st, the day Marty McFly discovered his own hoverboard in Back to the Future 2.
Okay.
However, these hoverboards aren't as easy to ride as they look, Bigler told TechCrunch. It's an earned experience, like water skiing or snowboarding, he said. TechCrunch reporter Josh Constant found the hoverboards very difficult to ride despite being an experienced skateboarder and snowboarder.
Okay.
I spent an hour trying to get the hang of the hoverboard, and at the end, I could scarcely go in a straight line and just barely make soft turns without falling off, he said. This is by far the toughest personal electric vehicle I've ever tried. Expect a lot of frustration at first, similar to learning to snowboard. Even then, I'm not sure I would want to commute in traffic on this thing. This Kickstarter campaign, have a drink. If the Kickstarter campaign fails to float enough cash to the hoverboard, Bigler plans to build a few dozen for friends and family and then call it quits.
Call it quits. Watch out for Biff, guys.
Biff!
Biff! Why don't you make like a leaf? What was it?
And get out of here.
No, make like a tree, McFly, and beat it.
Get out of here.
What was it? Make like a leaf.
Make like a tree and get out of here.
Yeah, and get out of here. It's supposed to be leaf. Anyway, South Carolina teen allegedly steals bondage gear. We're going to run through this real quick. We're at 56. I doubt we'll have time.
You have to read that one.
Yeah, anyway, she stole bondage gear, guys. She's just a little chick. Anyway, a teen in
Tiny
Spartan...
little thing.
She's a little thing. A teen in Spartanburg, South Carolina might be tied up in court. After being accused of stealing bondage gear. A Spencer's gift store employee saw Taylor Ottman, 19, of Chesney, approached the bondage section and put something in her purse on Tuesday. Anyway, according to the Smoking Gun newspaper, the item was a fantasy bed stretcher, a $39.99 restraint device that turns any bed into a rack suitable for a dungeon of pleasures. You got one of these?
No, but it sounds like something that should be on order.
Put him on the rack. I'm ready for sex. The employee detained Ottman and called police. The report doesn't mention whether the employee used any of the restraint devices sold in the bondage section to keep the suspect from fleeing. According to the police report, Ottman told police she'd also stolen $84 worth of panties from a nearby Victoria's Secret.
Well, they're from Victoria's Secret. That means there was, 4 pairs of panties?
This is true. They actually, if you take all the panties and put them together, they make one pair of panties. Did you get what I mean?
Well, they were to go with the stretching gear, I guess.
Thong panties are small. Anyway, according to the police report, Ottman told him that she stole the $84 worth of panties from Victoria's Secret because she'd been a naughty, naughty girl. The officer took Ottman to the lingerie store to return the underwear. She was taken to the Spartanburg County Jail and booked on 2 counts of shoplifting for less than $2,000 and released early Wednesday morning, according to the jail records. That's G&D in the news.
That's right. Hey, folks, if you get the chance to check out the Huffington Post, remember, there's great stories out there this week, like New Hampshire town celebrates 1965 UFO sighting, King Cobra lost in Orlando, Florida, and weirder people find love quicker, according to new study.
Really?
So be sure and check out the Huffington Post for all that weird news, folks.
So Weird Al loves it. Anyway, Nate, we got to go to break, brother. We're going to skip Legend X, man.
We're going to skip Legend X, and we're going to have to skip this week's
Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead.
But fortunately, there's no Fear the Walking Dead tonight, folks. So we will bring back Fear the Walking Dead next week to talk about last week's show. So you have a week to catch up before we actually start discussing it here.
Anyway, guys, stay tuned because... You ready for this? Tonight's guest, he's a Canadian actor and director best known for his role as Melvin Frohicke, one of the lone gunmen on the television smash hit The X-Files. We go behind the scenes, backstage, and behind the conspiracy theories as we ask him all the questions tonight that you want to know about your beloved, my beloved, the show we know and love, The X-Files, due to return in early 2016. I wonder if he's going to tell us about that, Nathan.
I don't know, but I've got my little Mulder and Scully figures set up here on the desk for the whole thing. So.
You do. I'm excited about that. I want to see your... I was actually spending the night in your room and that close to the Scully doll. I was like, oh, I wonder...
You kept her like right over your eye level, so it looked like she was a full-grown Scully just standing over you the whole night.
She was breathing on me. I love the pantsuit. What can I tell? I love the pantsuit, ladies of the Shadow Nation. Anyway, guys, each week on the GhostMan&Demon Hunter Show, we play a band that we know, we love, we support the little man on this show. This week's band is Daisy May, is the name of the artist, the name of the song, Upside Down. Demon Hunter.
Ghostman.
Shadow Nation. You guessed it. We'll be right back.
Woo-hoo.
She's upside down inside her head. She dines at noon, breakfast at 12. It's hard to know when you find her in bed. never sleep too soon. Her house is full of broken clocks. She keeps deeply inside a box. I wonder how she can be so screwy. Her diary is a few years old. It's empty and has many holes. She never keeps or makes appointments. You wonder why she thinks she shouldn't. I want to ask her when she wants to bet she can. She's upside down in her head. She mixes up day and night. She's sunbathed in the moonlight. She's upside down in her head. Even her closest friends, none of them can understand. She used to have a nice boyfriend. Oh, the boy you must treat well. The young man who was very much in love. He asked her to go on a date. He booked a nice table for 8. When she got in the restaurant, past midnight in around the piano. I want to ask her when she wants to bet she can. She's upside down in her head. She makes up day and night. She's sunbathed in the moonlight. She's upside down in her head. Even her closest friends, none of them can understand. I want to ask her when she wants to bet she can. She's upside down in her head. She mixes up day and night. She's sunbathed in the moonlight. She's upside down in her head. Even her closest friend, none of them can understand. She's upside down in her head. She mixes up day and night. She's sunbathed in the moonlight. She's upside down in her head. Even her closest friends, none of them can understand. She's upside down in her head. She mixes up day and night. She's sunbathed in the moonlight. She's upside down in her head. Even her closest friends, none of them can understand. She's upside down in her head. She mixes up day and night. She's sunbathed in the moonlight.
Hey, this is Ross Marquand, Aaron from The Walking Dead. You're listening to the Ghostman and Demon Hunter Show.
Hey, welcome back, Shadow Nation, to the one, the only mystifying Oracle Radio, your Ghostman and Demon Hunter show. Tonight's guest, he is a Canadian actor and director best known for his role as Melvin Frohickey, one of the lone gunmen on the television smash hit, The X-Files. He's also a director. He's also directed projects such as Millennium and The Lone Gunmen. Please, Shadow Nation, help us welcome to studio special guest Tom Braidwood to studio. Tom, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing. I'm hanging in, waiting to talk to you guys. It's a beautiful day up here, and going into a beautiful evening. So all is good.
Now, where are you right now? Are you in Cali, or are you in back in Canada? Where?
So I'm back in Canada. I live in a small town just outside of Vancouver called Maple Ridge.
It seems like most people involved in the X-Files, Millennium, stuff like that, because we had William B. Davis, the Smoking Man, on a couple months back. Everybody's from Canada, man.
Well, I guess that's partly because, originally the X-Files was shot up here for 5 years, and they were really good about hiring local people.
Right.
Well, see, I've got this theory, Tom, that you know how everybody's always complaining about here in America about immigrants crossing over from the Mexican border to steal our jobs. I say it's all these Canadians up there crossing over the border to steal our acting jobs. That's the problem. It's,
You definitely got a point.
Those, yeah.
Hey.
We actually go on the Canadian Broadcasting Network. Good friends at Paranormal A. They broadcast us out that way. So we're known in Canada land, baby. Go Maple Leafs. Anyway, I tell you what, Tom, we're huge fans of all your work and what you've done, and you've directed, you've done genius things. I want to know how you got started in the conspiracy theory stuff with the X-Files. Was it something that you always wanted to do as a small child, get into television, things like that?
Well, let's see if I can do it not too long for you. I came out of university really in theater and as an actor, and I joined an independent theater group in Vancouver and worked with them as an actor and a technician for about 7 years. My second love was always film, but I basically for around 7 years worked with this company called Tamanous, and then when they eventually kind of folded, everyone kind of went their own way, and I started working in the film industry, but not as an actor, simply as a technician, and I started low on the scale as a production assistant and that type of thing, and eventually I just kind of moved up and eventually ended up as a first assistant director, which I sort of stayed at for quite a while, and that's how I got eventually into the X-Files. I was invited to come in after the pilot. I didn't do the pilot, but after the series started, I was invited to come in and be one of the two first assistant directors, and that's kind of how it happened. And the gunman thing came out of, it was kind of an odd situation where a fellow by the name of a wonderful man named Billy Graham was doing an episode which I was also the first assistant director on, and he and I had met 12 years before on a independent feature that was shot up in snow country in Canada. Yeah. And he remembered me, and I guess we had talked a lot, and he knew I was an actor and stuff, and he wasn't happy with any of the people that he saw to play Frohickey, so he asked me if I would do it, and I kind of looked at the script, and it was one line, and I thought, oh, well, whatever. And that's where it started, and it just kind of took off from there.
It's funny, because I was sitting here with Sean tonight, and we were trying to remember how to say Frohickey. And so I pulled up a clip of one of the first episodes, and we're sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden you're talking about Scully, and you go, she is hot. And Mulder looks over and says, watch it, Frohickey. And we were just like, Frohickey, we got it now.
Well, it's probably my fault. I think the original intention was the name was Frohike, but I was just, I was breaking down the script, and I saw the character, and I just went in and said, who's this Frohickey guy? And it just sort of, that's when it started. So.
Yeah. Now, being in the entertainment industry, when you started out, like I said, as a kid, what did you think about the paranormal, the aliens, the conspiracies with the American government, Canadian government? I mean, did you, as a teenager or anything, were you ever into that? The comic books, the aliens,
Not so much. Comic books definitely. I was a big comic book fan, and I liked the whole kind of science fiction thing. I was a huge science fiction reader when I was a kid. I read a lot of science fiction, Ray Bradbury, Philip K. Dick, all the stuff that was going on, and really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm kind of on the fence in terms of the paranormal stuff, but I can't say I didn't enjoy the books, the comics, because I did.
Right.
Now, being so many Canadians up on the set up there, when you guys were reading through the scripts and looking at these possible U.S. conspiracies, were you sitting there going, "That one's probably true. That one's probably true"?
I think we probably did. I'm definitely leaning more towards the conspiracy thing than the paranormal thing. But yeah, we did that. One of the funny things, not so much about that, but when we were acting in the show, they wouldn't. We sometimes got dialogue corrections about how to say words properly, so they sounded American. It was kind of fun.
You know what? The good thing about it is most Americans can't say American words properly. I know I can't on this show, so...
They'd probably just watch it and go, he must be from Maine.
Yeah. How does it feel? When you got started with the X-Files, you already said you had one scene, most like just like actually Mr. Davis did, William B. Davis. He got the one scene smoking the cigarette up against the file cabinet. He thought that was it, one and done. When you started, did you ever think it would grow to be such an epic thing?
We never did. We, the three of us met on set. We didn't know each other, and we just kind of fell into a natural, easy relationship with each other. We really enjoyed each other's company, and the characters. It was one of the easiest acting things I ever did because everybody just seemed to find their character right away, and we just floated with it. And it at the end of it, we said goodbye to one another. We had no thoughts that this was going to get picked up or they were going to be more interested in having us back. I think part of it was at the time the producers of the show were. Blogs were just kind of getting underway on the internet, and I guess there were some. I wasn't following them, but the producers were, and there were some blogs about the X-Files, and apparently a lot of people got pretty excited when they saw us the first time. So I think that's what partially decided them in the next season to bring us back again, which was it was a real surprise to us. But I can't remember. I think in the second season they ended up bringing us back 3 times. So. No, but to answer your question, we really had no idea that it would just, grow and grow and grow the way it did, and eventually into our own series and all that silly stuff. So it was great. I mean, it was a great ride, and we had a lot of fun and worked with a lot of great people.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, you actually have kind of the life of Shatner, because he said he went over to Canada after he filmed Star Trek. Remember that? He said, I never knew they liked it. The ratings were terrible, and then they were watching it a lot in Canada. He was doing infomercials, and they called him back and said, we got to get you back, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have went to Canada, Nathan. We'd still have a TV show.
We were big in Canada.
Yeah.
Hey, of course, you're out there and you're filming these stories, and as you said, you don't have the following for the paranormal, but you believe in the conspiracy theories a little bit.
Yeah.
And all this stuff is going on. How many times do people confuse you for your character and start coming up and asking you to tell them the truth behind conspiracy theories?
That's an interesting question. That kind of happens the most at conventions. I don't go to nearly as many of them as Dean does, but certainly when you have little discussion sessions and people come in and sit down, those questions come up all the time. The people are definitely interested in how much you believe or whether you believe or
what
and
you
all
know, because obviously you were they must have had the secrets on this show. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the one that spooked everybody. It comes up a lot at conventions too, and it spooked all of us. Was the Trade Center getting hit, and and our pilot being about the Trade Center. That kind of spooked us all when that happened.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's funny, Tom, before you came on, we have to banter for about an hour before we can get you on for 30 minutes. And most of the people are just tuning in, by the way. This is the GhostMan&Demon show. Anyway, yeah,
they're all coming on for you, man.
They want to hear Tom. Anyway, I got to ask you, because we were doing the top 10 conspiracy theories, Tom. And what do you think about that 1969 Apollo moon landing? People say it didn't happen. I believe it did. But we're going to talk a little bit about this because you said you're kind of into conspiracy theories.
Oh, well, I'm on kind of on your side with that one. I think it did happen.
Right.
I mean, there's lots of people say it didn't, but I really do believe it did happen. I don't know. That's a huge one to fake. That would be a huge thing to pull off.
Hey, how about the Kennedy assassination? From the lone gunman, was there a lone gunman?
I've always believed that it was more than a lone gunman. But I mean, I read the book after the trials and all the investigation and stuff, and I don't know. I still wasn't convinced that it was just one guy. So
yeah.
Here's one for you, Tom. How do you have lone gunmen?
Hey, I didn't create that. It always surprised me that it wasn't Gunman, but
You helped direct, Tom. We hold you responsible.
We had to go through all our stuff because we started putting up the posters and they were saying Lone Gunman, and then all of a sudden we were like, hey, wait, it's Lone Gunmen.
Oh, well, they got it listed.
Yeah, I guess they were just referring to the three of us. I don't know.
I don't know. So, what do you think about Elvis? Is he living in Canada or what? They said the FBI FBI took him away.
He's done. He's left the country, not just the building.
Yeah, he's out.
I think he's gone.
He's out there with Bigfoot.
He was only visiting this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something along those lines.
But you know what, Tom? Big news came out. I believe it was at Comic-Con this year. Everybody's in a frenzy, man. The X-Files is coming back. How much can we say about that? Because William B. Davis came on and we said, now, William, we know you can't talk much about it. We've been in TV. We know. But are you coming back? And he said, well, I died.
And I gave him a whole scenario how they could possibly bring him back. Yeah. And out of the blue, 3 weeks later, they announced that William B. Davis might be returning to the X-Files.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is theoretically nobody ever really dies on the X-Files.
There you go.
That's about all I can say.
He's a perfect clone. That's it.
Cue music.
But I got to see a lot of old friends and stuff. I got to see Chris, and I got to see David, and it was really good. They're good people, and really nice to talk to them after so many years.
Yeah.
Now, besides having a part in the upcoming series, which I assume,
he can't say.
Will you be doing any directing with it?
No, not on this. The only directing I really did with the X-Files was working on some of the second unit on the second film when we, shot up country. But no, I never really got a crack at directing an X-Files, which was a big disappointment because it would have been a lot of fun to do.
Yeah. Now, Tom, you're a married man, correct?
I am.
Now, how does the family thing? How does she deal with you being on the road so much? You're starting to film again. How does that work for an actor? Is it hard or what?
It's pretty good. Quite often, I'm not doing that much acting anymore, but quite often the wife would come along with me if it was a city that she was interested in going to. She liked LA, so quite often when we went down there to do X-Files, she would come. So, it's worked out. It's worked out okay. And by that point, the kids were all growing up anyway and off on their own thing, so it was just the two of us, so it was easy to travel together.
Did any of the kids go into acting, follow Dad's footsteps?
No, in a way, my younger daughter, Kate, when I say younger, she's in her early 30s now, she has a group called the Wonderheads, which works, it's a theater group that works out of Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and they travel a lot doing festivals and theater festivals and things like that. You can look them up. It's pretty interesting. She does a lot of what they refer to as mask work. She builds these masks, and then they do shows. The shows are silent. There's no talking in them, and she plays these characters with these kind of oversized mask heads on. It's really quite fascinating to look at. So she got into it. We never asked her to, and we never suggested but she fell into it and just loved theater, and that's kind of where she's sitting. The other daughter, no, she worked in the film industry for a while, kind of on the technical side in locations and things like that. But after she had her first child, her husband and her decided they live out here in Maple Ridge, so they decided to change jobs, and they opened up a brewery. So they make beer and wine now. So there you go.
Well, we got to come stay with you, Tom. Nathan, did you hear that? He has
There's a brewery involved. I'm on. I'm there.
Some pumpkin.
It's good beer too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Tom, when you were growing up, what do you think? What were your favorite movies that inspired you? You said you liked superheroes, you read comics, but what about the movies?
The movies?
Yeah.
Well, in my early years, it was probably. Funnily enough, a lot of movies that came out of an area called New Wave Cinema in France, with people like Francois Truffaut and Godard, and just a whole list of really interesting films. And on the fantasy side, it was one of my favorites forever was John Carpenter. He could do no wrong as far as I was concerned.
Well, and of course, he filmed the whole moon landing in that little studio, so it was...
Absolutely. Tom, I got to ask you this, or everybody's going to kill me in the chat room. What was your favorite X-Files episode? Cigarette Smoking Man, Memoirs of the Cigarette Smoking Man was mine. What was yours?
Well, I don't know. A lot of people, I'm probably not alone. There's a lot of people. I really, really enjoyed Jose Chung.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely one of my favorites. But part of that was because I worked on it too, and it was just a lot of fun doing it. You know, we didn't get to do a lot of comedy, so I think that's actually one reason that people like the Gunmen, because it kind of lightened things up a little bit.
Yeah, it did. You guys were known as the comedy relief with the X-Files series. I mean, you guys brought it a much-needed humor, a lot of people thought, to the project.
Yeah, well, I think we started as what's the word for it? Well, it doesn't come to my lips right away, but basically we were there that if the show got too complicated, we could explain it in about a minute and a half what was happening. And but after that, it grew into a much more character-based thing, which was when it became a lot of fun. It just became more and more fun. So,
see, my favorite episode was always the Halloween special where Gary Shandling played Fox Mulder.
Yeah,
that was probably my favorite episode of all time, just to watch Gillian Anderson show how you can run in those shoes back and forth on screen. I love that.
I tell you, when I worked as a first AD and, basically I managed the set for the director, there were times when I just shuddered when I saw her running in these high heels. I don't know how she did it. Honest to God, I don't know how she did it.
There goes an
It just blew me away.
Well, Chris Carter, when he was writing a lot of the early episodes of the X-Files, you remember it was Bigfoot, the devil. What am I trying to say here, Nathan?
The New Jersey Devil episode.
New Jersey Devil, Bigfoot, things like that, Ghost. And they got away from that and went solely into government conspiracy and aliens. Why do you think that is? It was awesome, but why do you think X-Files got away from that? Was it different writers or?
I guess it was a combination of things. I mean, I always saw the show as the almost half and half of the conspiracy show, and then the other side, kind of the monster of the week show, and which I think you're right. It did sort of in the later years. It got more and more kind of into the conspiracy and attempting to wrap it up, but they still did a lot of monster of the week, and it could be the writers too. That's for sure. I mean, the writers changed. Some of them moved on, did other things,
and the 2008 movie came out, and people sat there watching, saying, "This had nothing to do with any of the X-Files stuff we're used to."
True.
Well, it kind of did. I mean, when the movie, not I Want to Believe, but the first movie that came out was roughly based on pretty much everything. They kind of tied it in a nutshell in 2 hours, everything to do with the X-Files, I thought.
Yeah, it did. I actually really liked the first movie a lot. I thought it was really nicely put together.
Yeah.
But
everybody loved that first X-Files movie.
Yeah, Fight the Future. And I think we can look forward to maybe another one coming. I know it's going to be a long road. X-Files is coming back. Tom, how do you think it's going to go? With a new generation looking at the X-Files coming out there, how do you think it's going to weigh?
One of the funny things is a lot of the conventions, quite often you get old timers like me coming up saying, "Oh, I loved your show. I loved you, and you guys are great." Yeah. And we've been showing all the episodes to our children, and they just love it. They think it's great. So now there's this whole second generation, in some cases almost a third generation, that are the parents are showing them this stuff and they're enjoying it. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, from that aspect, I think there'll be a lot of people looking forward to what these 6 episodes are going to be like that they're putting on. I can be very honest with you. I know they've been very hush-hush about it. I really know nothing about any of the episodes other than the people that are working on them. So I can't give away any secrets that way.
That's right. We won't ask you for secrets, sir. Wink, wink, honk, honk.
See, the hard thing for me is when I want to watch my old X-Files episodes, I got to pull out the old VHS tapes. And
well, fortunately, I've got them on disc, but
actually, I have the entire first 5 seasons on VHS, and I keep trying to convince myself I could go and buy 5 sets of the discs, and they would take up 12 inches on my wall, or I can keep dedicating one wall to my X-Files VHS tapes. It's
Tough call.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Well,
That's how big your wall is, I guess.
Yeah.
My daughter watches them with me. My 6-year-old, she watches the X-Files on Netflix with me now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she
there you go, and I think that's been a big boost for the show. Netflix airing the entire thing.
Right, and
even the wife and I have started watching them again from square one.
And I really love the first couples. I mean, I'm X-Files nuts, but I really love the first couple seasons with the remember the little girl that had the doll, and the doll was killing people. It really had that Twilight Zone feel to it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, well, even my wife Trudy, she said after we watched the first 2 or 3, she said, these actually really stand up well. It still works.
Right. But you know what? You've done some directing, Tom,
yeah.
And you've been behind that. Like with Millennium and stuff like that, what goes in to doing something like that, directing a huge project?
Well, mostly what I did on Millennium was second unit directing, so I was kind of picking up the pieces that they missed on the main unit. But I got to work with Lance and people like that. It was a gas. It was a lot of fun. But sometimes the shows are so complicated and so dense. They just don't get everything shot, right? And in some cases, it's like entire scenes that have to be picked up by somebody. So right. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Now, I got to ask you, how do you handle the on-set drama? We had, I think it was William came on before, and he said, a lot of people pop off on the set because a lot of people don't realize it. I mean, it's work. It's just like loading up your lunchbox and going to work every day. How, as a director, even second unit, everything, how do you guys deal with 2 actors that start clashing and it just throws the mojo off? How do you fix that as a director?
That's a hard one. That's you just try to talk them down. I think I was lucky in some instances if there were any problems on X-Files set, and there weren't that many. But because I'd been an actor, I kind of knew the language. I kind of knew if I could tell that the actor was getting upset from an acting point of view, from a not understanding what was going on point of view. And so I would quite often approach, if there was any kind of tiff between actors, I would approach it from that direction. And hopefully I didn't always solve the problem, but I worked at it.
And it's funny, too, because people watching the shows don't realize how much time goes into making 44 minutes.
No, they don't.
I used to explain to people all the time that, in reality television, for every minute on television, figure an hour of filming time and stuff like that, and then after that it goes to editing and everything like that. But when you're doing a scripted show, it can be several hours per minute.
Yeah. Well, X-Files, inevitably, especially in the early years, they were 16-hour days and of shooting 5 days a week, and very tiring for the crew and really tiring for the actors, especially the lead actors. Those are long hours, and turning around and coming back the next morning and do anywhere from 14 to 15 hours. By the end of the week, you're pretty burned out.
Yeah, I remember. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I was saying we had a small stint on television on A&E. We had a little paranormal type show, and I remember going back to the hotel room, and I was so excited that we were all together. Our radio show had made it to television. I thought, well, I don't have to study my lines. I can stay up late and watch TV. And, man, when we got out on that set, I work full time, and I think it was like working 3 jobs, and they filled it in 12 hours a day. I don't know how you guys could do it.
Yeah, well, it was a challenge, and that's, Chris was the one thing, I think one of the things that made X-Files work was Chris was always willing to present a challenge, not just for the audience, but for the crew. And he would say things like, well, in the script, like a flying saucer lands and flips over 3 times. And, well, how are we going to film this? Right? Yeah. It's like, how do we do this?
It all happens off screen.
Yeah, well, in some cases. But all the stuff with aliens and stuff, it was always, there was always something new in every script to kind of figure out how they were going to shoot it. And tough show to do. A lot of directors work really hard to make that show work.
Yeah. It took us a while to figure out there's 22 directors, and you never know which one to follow. They're all screaming at each other. But, you know, you've been quoted, Big Tom, as saying, I've had a chance to direct some children's shows over the years, and it's one of my favorite things to do because they bring so much energy to the set.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some of the children's shows you've had the pleasure of doing?
Well, I did a couple of teen shows here in Vancouver. I got to direct, really fortunately, a show called Edgemont, which is about, you know, teen angst and all that kind of stuff. But you're absolutely right. The young people, I mean, they were anywhere from 12 to 16, and they just bring so much good energy to the set. You know, I mean, sometimes you got to kind of whack them down with a baseball bat to keep them calm.
Right.
But just a lot of fun to work with them because they're always there for you, right? Always there to try something. They listen. They'll try something different because they're kind of learning at the same time as doing. So, yeah, kids were great. I got to do a few things like that, and I got to do an educational series with really young kids, like 8 to 12, and that was just a hoot because they were, you know, they were young, they didn't know much, and they were just so much fun to work with. They just had great energy. You're absolutely right.
Now it's weird to feel because we're like Canada and America, right there on the border, but we're two separate countries. Where do you prefer to film? Canada, America?
Well, I never really got to film in America, but I'd be just about as happy filming, you know, filming anywhere is fine. I think it's always hard. It's hard for directors who have to leave their town like LA and they have to come up here and spend weeks at a time, you know, directing something, especially if they, you know, you get someone like Tim Manners who started, the producers just really fell in love with, and he ends up getting a lot of episodes. So it's pretty tiring back and forth from LA, and I'm sure it's the same in reverse for anybody that works down there.
Now, I remember when Sean and I went out, we filmed for like 30 days in a row. We'd film for like 5 days, take 1 day off, take another day to fly, film for 5 days, take another day off, take a day to fly. Then when we came home, we were sitting at home and we were calling each other going, I don't know what to do with myself. You know, because you go to work in the morning, you come back in the evening, and you don't have to be on set in 5 minutes. There's nobody waiting outside with a car. What is it like when you get done filming and then you go home?
That's a good question. In a lot of cases, it was just, you know, I lived like when we filmed at the studio, I was an hour from set, so I would drive an hour to get there and then shoot for 16 hours and an hour to come home, and then you have to get up 6 hours later and go back. So you're just more tired than anything else. But you're right. You get caught up on it. You kind of don't think about anything else. You just until you get a weekend off or something, and you can actually turn your mind onto something else. You get wound up in it for sure.
Hey, Tom, I know we're out of time, brother, and I'm going to ask you to stay on the line a couple seconds there while we close out the show. But I got one more question. Nathan, you can take it from there. Where do we go from here, Jim? Huh, Tom? Where do we go from here?
Well, let's hope that the audience loves the 6 episodes of the X-Files next spring and late winter, and they get picked up.
Gee, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it coming out. I think the world is, and the X-Files fans are going nuts. Can't wait. Nathan?
Yeah.
I just have to ask you, Tom, the X-Files opened television up to a to a fantasy-style, conspiracy paranormal style show that gave birth to so many other shows. Are any of them out there shows you watch now?
Oh well, I'm a TV junkie, so I watch just about everything, and I think the thing for me with X-Files, it wasn't just that it opened up the paranormal or conspiracy thing. It also stylistically, the way it was shot, there simply wasn't anything being done like that, and the show brought a look to television that, I mean, people were, producers were afraid to shoot things in the dark, and X-Files just opened that up. And I think it's made a huge difference to TV.
Okay,
I really do.
Last question, acting or directing? If you could only pick one for the rest of your life, which would you do?
Probably directing. I love acting, but I really enjoy directing too.
All right, Tom. I tell you what, we're going to ask you to stay on the line a couple seconds after the show for we can say thank you and everything. To our fans, the Shadow Nation out there, where can they find out more about Tom on Twitter, Facebook? Where can they go?
Probably IMDb, the database. Not a lot on Facebook or Twitter. I don't Twitter, so probably just databases about film. You know, you can find out. There's a few in the States. There's a few in Canada. You can find out what I've done and all that stuff.
Well, Tom, you're an amazing actor, and thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait for the X-Files, and everything you touch is amazing, sir.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
What do you say we pay the bills, Nathan?
It sounds good to me. Otherwise, we're going to start pulling out the 12 other pages we have of questions for Tom.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Tom, stay on the line 1 second, Tom. Special thanks to all our homes, all our sponsors, Stitcher, Smart Radio, Planet Paranormal, Action Audio Apps. Hey, are you guys listening? Because they want to know, so check them out at actionaudioapps.com. Midnight Syndicate and Free Music Archives, thanks for the tunes. From the haunted back roads of America, this has been another exclusive G&D Show interview. Don't go changing America. You know we won't. Demon Hunter.
Because we love you.
Night, guys.